EVP!
Yeah.
And Voices of Leadership, Volt. That's an advanced club, just in case you want to ask about it later. She's an award-winning producer, speaker, radio host, and project consultant who empowers you to create your own projects and career. Jenna has been speaking her entire life, first as a member of her speech competition club in junior high and high school, then as an actor who appeared in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as well as Malcolm in the Middle.
I thought I'd seen it.
I know, probably with Malcolm, I'm sure. She then went into producing and taught at New York Film Academy, was the resident producing advisor on the popular Movie Maker magazine top-ranked podcast, Film Method, which prompted Jenna to start her own radio show called Create Your Life. Jenna is also the founder of the lifestyle brand, Create with Jenna, where she empowers people to infuse their personality and story into everything they do. She speaks on various topics, including post-traumatic stress disorder. Growing up as a child of teenage parents and creating your life, these two ladies will assist you in taming the PR Gorilla. Get the monkey off your back with Elisabeth and Jenna. Elizabeth and Jenna.
Thank you, Glenn. So there's a lot to cover today. Thank you guys so much for coming in and paying attention, right? We're going to pay attention. So Elisabeth and I are both members of Volt, which is an advanced club. So we expect a certain level of participation in our workshops because we're all Toastmasters. And we love to Voices of Leadership Toastmasters. It's pretty awesome if you haven't heard of it. So we're going to expect answers and participation because this is the workshop portion of our workshop. I want everybody here to close your eyes. Think back to when you first joined Toastmasters. What age were you? Where were you at in your life? What were you doing? Now open your eyes. Why did you join your club?
I have no place to go. No, the reason why I had joined was for very selfish reasons, which is I had just got a promotion in my business. And I went to one of my mentors and I said, well, how do I take it to the next level? And he said, have you heard of Toastmasters?
Awesome.
And that's really the reason why. But why stay? Totally different.
Okay. Today's workshop, thank you for the slide, by the way, is because your Toastmasters group most likely has a brand, right? There's a reason you joined that particular group. Why did you join your particular Toastmasters group? And just take a second to write down 3 words that come to your mind. Who here knows very specifically what their Toastmasters brand is? By a show of hands. Shauna.
My main club is very professional.
Okay.
It meets in a professional setting. The dress code is upscale and the meetings are run with a specific format and time frame for each segment.
Great, awesome. Who here doesn't know their Toastmasters brand? Show them high, show them proud. You don't know your club's Toastmasters brand. So today, hopefully, by doing these worksheets, you will be able to come away with at least the base level of what your Toastmasters group's brand is. I have just been voted president of EBP, which is, I know, I'm so excited. It's Empowered Business Professionals. So our brand is very clear in our title. We're about empowerment and we're about business and being professional with both. So last season, I'm calling it season, I don't know what they call it, Toastmasters. Last season, the executive committee really focused on empowerment and they did such a fantastic job. So my platform, if you will, as president this year at EBP is to focus on the business part. So it's shifting it, but it's building this brand all together so that when anybody in our club goes out into the public, they know exactly what they're selling. And the people that come to our club know exactly what they're buying. So when you're doing these worksheets, it's really important to think really specifically about your club, and then how you can apply it to your life is to think specifically about whatever project you're doing, whether it's a work project, whether you want to create your brand in your speaking career or your professional career. These are questions that you need to ask yourself. The next question, and I just want you guys to take a minute and write down the first 3 words that come to your mind really quick. What's unique about your club? It could be the members. It could be the support. It could be the way they run the meeting. It could be what their theme is. It could be one person in the club who happens to be the one who talks the most.
Did you really say that?
Well, he founded
deserved.
EBP.
It's deserved.
So when you walk into EBP, if you don't see Glenn, you're like, where's our brand? I don't know what to do today. So if you have someone like that in your group, by all means, drop them down. Because then later on you can go, why is it that people think of Glenn when they think of EBP? What is it about him? What's Glenn's brand that we can then bring to the club and put out into the rest of the community? The next question that I want you guys, does anybody want to share one answer that's unique about their club?
Who's Glenn?
This is Glenn.
Hey, Ted.
Gabriella.
Leadership.
Excellent. I love
That's
that.
what I joined EVP.
Woo! Anybody else?
Motivated.
Nice. Okay.
Our members are surprising because when your first impression of them is almost this frumpy group of people that are very quiet. It's very laid back. It's very quiet. And as you start to get to know them better, our club is called Rising Star, and it's in Burbank. So the first stop for anybody, because we don't market our brand well, is it's entertainment. Turns out that this group was originally founded by a group of Lockheed engineers.
Interesting.
And almost all of the senior members have been either aerospace engineers, computer engineers, but that you never know until you get to kind of take the time to know them. So
Is that working for you, membership-wise?
it's very secretive. You have to kind of ask around and get to know them before you know. So that's where our brand is very blurry.
Okay.
But it's I think
Interesting.
it's a platform to build off of. Just
Absolutely. So figuring out the uniqueness is what we're going to talk about today, and then letting you guys know how you can put it out into the world. Yes.
Renaissance Speakers is best known clearly for its evaluations.
Yes.
And a lot of speakers who are competing in upcoming contests visit our club as a guest speaker for the purpose of getting an evaluation.
Cool. That's awesome. So my question to you, and you don't have to answer it now, would be, if you are looking for new members, how do you present that brand to the outside public?
Good question, and I don't know that it relates to membership. It could, but I don't know exactly how. I don't think we brag about it.
Yeah, and that's great. It's a great thing to brag about. I mean, D52 has a number of top-notch international award-winning speakers, and we brag about it often. But the thing is, how do we get that outside of Toastmasters so we bring in new blood?
Good question.
Well, then we're going to cover a bit of that today, right, Elisabeth? And then also, before I pass it off to Elisabeth, who has just an incredibly awesome PowerPoint plan for you guys, I really do want to let you know what our goal is this year with District 52. Glenn is now in charge of PR. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. And he has, I know, everybody seems so enthused.
Don't be sorry.
The great thing about Glenn, who here doesn't know Glenn?
Hector wishes he did.
You don't know Glenn? So this is Glenn.
Hector doesn't want to admit.
I know. That's a common occurrence. But the thing about Glenn is that if you look around, there's 2 people in this room who don't know Glenn. That's pretty impressive. So it's new, it's not only a new PR representative, but it's a new PR representative who really gets in there and meets the members of Toastmasters. So if you're at all active in Toastmasters, Glenn is gonna know about it. And he's really good at connecting. So the thing with District 52 and the PR team this year is communication. Oh, communication leadership. But make sure you guys are communicating with the district on what you're doing so that we can help you in the PR department. And with that, Elisabeth is going to show you how.
Hey, Elisabeth.
Jenna is the high energy component and I'm the analytical component.
Perfect yin and yang. Love it.
Very great.
And I know you paid for this, but there are no refunds. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to start a little bit by talking about, first of all, who are VP of PRs in here right now? So we have quite a few.
Perfect.
And what I want to do first of all is, have all of you who are in that role, have you read the part of the book that applies to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, whatever I tell you, I can tell you anything because you haven't read it.
Our job is to pay us $5,000 a day.
All right, so this is the actual, the kind of the content of what they put in the book, and they say this is what they want you to do as the Vice President of Public Relations. Promote the club to the local community, update web content and social media, notify the media about the club's existence and benefits it provides, and safeguard the Toastmasters brand identity. So that would be the objective of it. And then these are kind of the tools. And I use this as an addiction photo. These things are time-consuming and addicting. And it's interesting, I was looking on Facebook, they had a statistic, there's 1.4 billion Facebook users now.
Wow.
935 million active users. 90% of all Americans who are on social media are on Facebook at some point.
Wow.
67% every month, 55% every week, 27% in their car.
Ooh, not good. Not good.
The thing is these are all tools for your public relations program. And each one of them has its own function. We're not going to go into that. We're going to talk more about, you know, how you actually bring a program like this to life versus how you actually use these individual tools, because there'll be lots of people who want to talk to you about that. So what I want to do is, we've talked about objective and the tools. What do you think is actually your job in the club? If you could describe it in a couple words, and if you want to, there's a little thing you can write around the worksheet, but you can also give them to me and I'll write them down.
Get people through the door.
Get people to what?
Through the door.
Okay, so. Get people
Yes.
to the door.
So while she's writing, the one thing that is important to know regarding branding, and it's the #1 question that you're always going to think about when you're thinking about your club's uniqueness and how to brand it, is why. How do you get people through the door? You let them know what your why is. What is the motivation of the club? Why should they become a member? Why do you exist? So getting people through the door, that part is key.
Yep, exactly. And this is applying the why.
Yes.
So that's
Nice.
the way to look at it. So what else? That's one thing. That isn't the whole thing.
Promote
Promote what?
your special events.
So promote events. So those are 2 kinds of jobs you have. What else?
Just to actually get the identity of your club out there so that there's a, even if they don't respond, they just see the club, the club, the club.
Why is that important?
Because they need to become members.
Because then they'll have familiarity, they'll have the interaction, and then when they do get the flyer or do have somebody, they'll go, oh yeah, the club.
Who here can tell me how many times you have to be, they call touched, in order to buy something new?
7. No?
I think it's
9.
That's a lot.
10.
10 times?
10 times to buy something new, 3 times to reinforce.
Nice.
10 times, so you're absolutely right. Like if they see your flyer 10 times and they see that you've been doing great things 10 times, they're more likely to pick it up and go, oh, maybe I should check this out.
That makes sense.
So what you're really looking at here is you're looking at lead generation. Because you're trying to get people through the door. That's a big part of your club, part of your role. And this part of it is you're trying to communicate your brand to existing members and to anybody who's looking for your club. And you could break this down in a lot of different ways. I thought of 15 things. So I know if you sat here and thought about it for a few minutes, you could. This is what a typical PR program looks like. And let me just kind of explain it. I'm going to violate all of Richard's rules on slides.
6 by 6 here.
Richard's not here. Don't tell.
Oh no, there's Richard
Oh,
right there.
Richard's hiding in the back.
He's already cringing. Look at
Richard,
him.
close your eyes.
I'm standing in front of the projector too. So, what happens here, though, is you get the job, you're all excited about it. First thing you discover in Toastmasters is you have no budget. And then you start looking at what you have and you see the website hasn't been worked on for a while, the Facebook pictures are old, the thing doesn't seem very up to date. So you start putting some real effort into it. And over like the next 2 or 3 weeks of July, you really go crazy. And by August, you've put something together, you've launched your site, and you're all excited about it, and you think that that is what you had to do. And then what happens is you have no update strategy. You have no idea about what next to do. You kind of refresh the site, but what do you do beyond that? And you start waiting for undefined content, things that you think maybe should be coming from club members or from someplace you haven't even imagined. You're unsure of what's working, you have no metrics. And what eventually happens is you're waiting for content, your events get stale, and then this happens.
Who has done this
That
before?
should be G-O-A.
Been
Toastmaster online.
No. Who has done this with their PR campaign for their club before? By a show of hands, who's done it?
Is that what?
Who's done this with their PR campaign? Got all excited and did the website and then, me too.
How many companies do this? They spend months
Oh, yeah.
ramping up a website page. They put the thing out there, they do news releases, and then they don't touch the thing for a year.
Yeah.
You know, this is a very, very common attribute of it. So what I want to do is I want to give you some tips. And I'm going to go into these in more detail, but they basically are that you can't do this without some kind of a strategy, without some kind of a plan. You have to understand, you know, what your resources are, whether it's just you or somebody else. You have to understand who your audience is and how you move out to them. And you have to understand about advocates. And these tips are actually in the handout back on like page 4, just so you know. So let's talk a little bit about what it should actually look like in terms of your campaign, in terms of your planning for the year. So it's the same thing, you got the job, you're all excited about it. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to figure out what you actually have. And you need to figure out what actually works. Have you had any historical success at all? And a typical historical success, like for my club, is Meetup. We seem to get a lot of members from Meetup. So certainly, I want to keep using Meetup. You know, I don't need to reinvent that. And then you develop a PR strategy, which is what the third part of this program is going to be, and what Jim is going to come back to, is this idea of a content calendar. And the content calendar is basically you define, either by month or by year, you define what you're going to actually be doing, what you can actually do, and then you execute on it. And then you measure it, and you execute on it, and you measure it. And what I mean by measure, I'm not talking about Google Analytics here, I'm talking about really simple things. Like asking people when they come in the club, how did you find it? You know, that's the kind of thing you kind of see if what you're doing is working and where you should put some more effort. And if you're doing something that's not creating any difference, like let's say you're putting out some kind of a blog or something, you don't feel the results from it, you need to tune it or change it or do something. But this is the feedback you get that kind of keeps you doing the other step. So this is what happens, and the real truth of a PR campaign, it's not those flash in the pan campaigns, it's persistence. It's a trust relationship you build with the customer over time. And if you don't build that relationship, these things don't work. You're just spinning tires. So then the next thing, and this is on your sheet, it asks you how much time do you have. And what I put down there is I said, do you have more than 4 hours a week? Do you just have 4 hours? Do you have less than 4 hours a week?
Oh, yeah.
Are you just going to fit this in because you have no time at all? And this is a real consideration if you think about it, because if you only have an hour a week to work on this, you have to be pretty concise about what you work on. You can't just jump into anything. It's not going to create productive results for you. And you have to also understand the implications of saying yes. And I've learned this. The district has a real thing about this.
The district likes to volunteer you.
Every time someone comes to you and says, implication of your time. And if you set up your content calendar, you have to say, do I have enough time to fit this additional question here, or how that's going to work? And then you have to create a plan that has sufficient time to bring your PR activities to life. And you're going to talk about that more, so I'm not going to touch on that too much. And then you have to know what tools you're familiar with. Because let's say that you're really dying to work with Meetup, but you've never even been in the tool before, and you don't have any idea. You don't even know what the login is for your club. You know, there's 4 hours of work right there. Just chalk it out. By the time you figure it out, get into it, figure out what it is, that's 4 hours. So figure out what you're familiar with, and then what you're not familiar with, see if you can get help from other people in your club who know the thing. If there's a person in the club who's already been doing meetup.com and is willing to keep doing it, let them do it. Yeah. You know, there's no reason for you to have to do
Well,
that.
let me add too, and don't stress if you don't have access to the new technologies. Use what you have and use what you know and do it well, and you'll get the same results.
Yeah. And then the other one is to form a committee. In a smaller club, that can be a little bit difficult, but it can still be done. In that, you know, find a couple people to work with you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yes.
I just wanted to key off of that, where you consider how much time you have. It's also, when you take on things, you will implicitly need other people involved. So you sometimes need to consider how much time do they have as well. Because frequently, many of these efforts involve more time than just yours. So you have to kind of take the broader perspective sometimes and look at what you take on.
Absolutely.
And almost always the killer for anything you do in PR where you are kind of the end part is content. Someone promises you some content and they never deliver. Or they deliver it one day before the event and they expect that to save them. So the end point is that, you know, try and find things that will help, people that will help you. Try to understand what you're familiar with and only learn what you really need to learn. And so then focus. We don't have a lot of time, a lot of bandwidth in terms of money and time. So we need to stay focused. And this gets me down to what is your target audience. And it's a little bit different than what you call like your club member persona. You know, you could kind of what she talked about was the persona of the member that you're looking to attract. When you talk about your target audience, let's say that we live in a college town, Glendale. We have this school here, and we know that young people are wanting to learn to speak. They have all the same inhibitions as everybody else. That's a target audience. So how would you craft your club message so that you could get out to that target audience? Another target audience is the city of Glendale. You know, you really probably aren't going to attract many members from Tarzana.
I think a perfect example is the idea that I told you about EVP's very specific brand, Empowered Business Professionals. How would you target the audience here at Glendale Community College? Who would be the first group that you would go after? The business students, exactly. So it's these audiences that Elisabeth is talking about can all be tailored towards your brand if you think of it in a kind of outside the box way.
And what you don't want to do is you don't want to say my target audience is everybody older than 18 years old.
Right.
The messages that get out to an 18-year-old are not the same messages that get out to someone like Glenn.
And you're targeting to 5-year-olds.
I didn't want
You didn't have to clarify that.
Once you know the persona of your members and you understand your time and who you want to send it to, then you have to kind of consider what kind of editorial content you want to put out to them. So I have an example here. Take a quick second to read this and then hopefully you're a fast reader because I'm not going to go much longer. If you were to look at this club and read about this club, what would you think they were about?
Leadership.
Leadership. They really push leadership. Do they seem to push public speaking? So if you were going after the business school, this might be some content you'd want. I think it probably needs the public speaking component. Yes.
What's the resource for that page?
This was actually taken from a website in India, one of the free Toast sites.
Website in
Website in India.
So they need Richard's PowerPoint presentation on graphics.
Well, I was looking at different sites trying to find something that was somewhat polarized so that I'd have some content, and this was something that I thought was representative.
That's good.
of them.
Yeah.
Is this what you guys do on your meetup site as well? Like you maybe pull the quest in and then post in the answer, and that's how you attract a number of people to the site?
You mean in terms
Okay.
of,
For, you said one club that you belong to, many people come to the club as a result of the meetup site.
right.
So I know it's a technique that you guys are using, is it the question?
We mostly just publicize our meetings
Okay.
and, you know, what city we're in and kind of, our, you know, part of our brand. And that seems to draw plenty of people. There's no tricks in it right now.
Can I supplement that a little bit? I'm on the same wavelength as Elisabeth. When we started EDP, it was an open club and you had to have 17 new members. When we first advertised, all we got was dual members and that just didn't really help us. So doing through Meetup, the real big thing is consistency.
Consistency.
We put up photographs, we put up new content. It was fresh all the time. We were getting people to sign up for it, and that really helped out. And I don't know if you ever gone to Meetup, and all of a sudden you went to search for something. I don't know, it's going to be something about rhinoceros driving or something like that. And then all of a sudden you go to the site, it has a big light bulb on it. Have you ever seen that before?
Yeah, I mean, no idea.
They haven't set up a meeting. You never want to have that light bulb. Always have a meeting set up there.
Okay.
That way they know you're active.
We're gonna move on because
Sorry.
there's a lot of slides.
That's the fourth one here is advocates. And I don't know if you're familiar with this concept, but if you're in the social media business, every single person that you engage with your information, you get to tie into their network. So like I have a fairly small network, but I know Jenna has a fairly large network. So if I have something that I want to publicize, if I can get Jenna to put it up on her social media network, I'm going to get a lot more people, right? And then I know of a person who has 7,500 people followers on their Facebook page. If you hit that person to put up your content, you just hit a much larger audience. And you probably have 2 or 3 people in your club who are fairly popular Facebook users. You know, you need to keep them engaged so you're getting the benefit of their social media. What's that?
You just never respond to it.
That's right. Yeah, well, it's bad if you only have one friend too. Love it. So, all right. So here's 4 more things I want you to think about. And first of all is mobile devices. Well, I'm talking a little bit of how you're found, a little bit about how you generate content, and then just talk real quickly about how you might measure your PR results. So the first one is that when you put up your website or any content, you want to take a quick minute and look at how it looks on a cell phone. Because how many of you have a smartphone? And how many of you find yourself searching more and more on your smartphone and less on your computer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know for me, I hardly ever search on my computer anymore. My expectations of my smartphone and its performance are just going up every day. So, like, I took the Toastmasters site as an example. I thought it's a pretty good example of something that comes up pretty clean on a cell phone and allows you to kind of start through it. You can see they give you kind of large dialogues to push on.
Yeah.
It's not about point and click on cell phones, it's about gestures. And so you're looking for your site to have something that allows them to not have to have a real sharp finger. Anyways, it's important to run up on your cell phone, see how you look, and you know, you can do Meetup. They do a pretty good job also of coming up on a cell phone. So this is just in the back of your mind. If you spend a bunch of time trying to format your website and didn't spend any time trying to think about the cell phones, you've missed a big part of the market potential. This is the other one that Jenna and I talked a lot about that we thought we wanted to make sure you all realized. And we were talking about R&D. What was R&D? Rip-off?
Rip-off and
Disorder?
No. Duplicate.
Rip-off and
Rip-off and duplicate.
Rip-off and duplicate. I love
It's
it.
all about R&D, rip-off and duplicate.
There's
And,
someone doing it really well, and
Yes.
you can apply that to what you're doing.
yeah, but the thing is, all these things are in the handout as well. But if you're having a hard time finding content, there's really no excuse for that. The content is everywhere. You-
I have to insert this though. There are some things you have to be careful about copyright.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
We just had an email exchange about this with regards to some of the Toastmasters International content. Some of it is copyrighted, and we need to be careful that we're not going to blatantly just copy and paste.
Right. Well, and you don't want to. And this goes into the social media aspect. I'll jump ahead really quick just to address what you're saying. Who here would love if Toastmasters reposted their stuff, your stuff on their site?
Oh, yeah.
Toastmasters probably feels the same. As long as you're cross-posting it and making sure people know where it came from, you're pretty good. Don't copy paste it and then say it's yours.
Yes.
Then you're in really big trouble. The one thing that I will say though is if it's blatantly copyrighted, like if it has the C around it, I would stay away. But if it doesn't have the C around it, chances are on social media, they're cool with you cross-posting because then they're getting your readers' eyeballs.
In some cases, though, you need to ask Toastmasters for some of the stuff. You need to actually go and ask them, and it's okay because it's used in Toto. We ran into this just recently.
And you know, the engines for finding
zero sense
copywriting
to me,
tend to
but
get
okay.
more sophisticated. I belonged to a Rotary Club a couple of years ago that had posted a poem attributed to the author, but didn't attribute it to the website where it was at. And it was like 6 years ago in a newsletter, and they found this thing, and they sent us a letter and wanted us to pay like $5,000 for this use of this poem. And,
Yeah.
and
A similar thing happened to me with Getty Images. Do not post Getty Images on your anything.
Just to kind of make this specific instead of an abstract concept. This was actually in regards to posting a list of CC projects on a website.
Right.
So as long as it's just basically as long as it's just the titles from the CC manual, they're okay with that. But any more details where they're actually copying and pasting the details about the projects and whatnot,
Yeah.
Well, sure, that's stealing someone's content.
I know, but my point is that
Right, no, I guess I'm more logical.
so, and I'm not trying to take away from what you're doing here, but there are certain things you need to be kind of mindful of with regards to copy.
Do you know what would be awesome? Can you write a blog about it?
I would probably not be the one to write a blog about it, because I'm kind of, I had the reaction that you had about it, so.
And here's the thing too, is that you don't have to put
But-
the content.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually put the content in your website. You can just put a small leader sentence to it and say, go here.
Right.
If you want to know all about the CC manual and what the individual programs are at, here's a link, and you click on that, it goes right to Toastmasters. You don't have to retype it, you don't have to do anything, just let them go to their
That's good.
website.
That's good.
There's no real reason to duplicate that in your site. Now, like on my particular club website, I do have the names of all the CCs. I have the entire current communicator track mapped out,
Yeah.
but it doesn't explain to the projects, it just says, these are the things you have to
Yeah.
complete.
That's fine.
Yeah, and so I think that's fine. But you can also see here, there's just so many things you could do and you could create, different things. But this is what's going to make up your content calendar too. If you're wondering what's going to be in the thing, this is the kind of stuff that you'll be thinking about. And so that's that. Last minute of my time, so. And then we talked a little bit about how you might measure results. What do you think would be good ways to measure results? Any ideas? Growth. That's a great one.
Anybody else?
Well, I like what you said before, which was when someone comes in, you actually ask them, how did you find it? And that makes you want to, like, for instance, we found out, because we have a YouTube channel for AVP, that a few people came in just specifically for that. Well, I'm going to really want to that.
You would measure with statistics, and my question is, which are the key statistics to measure growth?
Well, most of us aren't sophisticated to do key, like statistics, like you Google Analytics or something along those lines.
No, just the number, number of new members, number of ads out, number of contacts, number of,
And
I don't know what they are, I'm asking, what are
it could
they?
also be, if you put up a YouTube video, how often is it being viewed?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, you could have some measurements.
How
This is
many
my
Facebook
baseline.
likes did you get after you put a
Yes,
certain
exactly.
post?
A really simple thing that we do with Mindful, and Karen knows this, we have on our attendance sheet, it says, how did you find out about us?
Mhm.
So when a guest signs up for a meeting, one of the things we ask them for, in addition to their contact information, is how did you find out about us?
Nice.
So a really simple way, we just pay attention to those and we know where our efforts are making a dent.
Perfect.
So always be thinking about this, because you want to kind of give yourself a pat on the back for your successes, and you want to stop doing the things that are just spinning your tires. Okay. Jim? After
Yay,
Jen.
content! Thank you. So let's go to the page in the worksheets, just to reiterate that Elisabeth made ideas for strategic content, page number 4. Just so you guys are familiar, that's the slide that she just had up. I just want you guys to take that away. Who here thinks it's hard to produce content? Who here produces content for their websites and their social media?
I produce content in general.
For the websites and the social media?
Yeah.
That's it? Who here is going to have to this year? Excellent. Okay, so it can get really overwhelming. Being in charge of the PR can be insanely overwhelming if you're not used to it. So what I want to do with who here is familiar with the content calendar? Would you mind explaining what it is?
No, I don't know exactly how it is in Toastmasters, but I use it just to set up what is going to be laid out for the rest of the month, so it's not week to week, or you find out on Monday what you're doing on Friday, you find out on the 1st what you're doing on the 31st. It's all laid out for you for the entire month.
Exactly. It's used in publishing for the most part, which is all a blog or a social media is publishing ideas, thoughts, content. So I've taken, it's also how we produce movies, so bear with me. This is literally what I do whenever I get a project that I'm producing. I have blank calendar, right? Oh, it's a little intimidating, like a blank page when you're writing. And then you think, what's the goal? The goal is to let the world know about what the club is up to and what the brand of the club is. So I'm going to keep going back to EVP because, again, we started with it, so we might as well finish with it. It's all about empowerment and business. So if you take those two words, can I have a marker? Thanks. And how much time do we have? Not very much, huh?
About 10 minutes.
Okay. So if we have empowerment and business as the two Y's, right? That's why our club exists, to give our members empowerment and to help them with their businesses. So the key, like Elisabeth said about a content calendar, is to be consistent. In order to be consistent, you have to plan it out and you have to know how much time it's going to take to do everything. So whenever I do a colored Post-it notes, why would I use Post-it notes instead of just writing it up?
Change them around.
Exactly. Because life happens. So let's say we decided once a week we're going to do a cross post. We really love this one business site or this one inspirational site, and we've gotten permission, if it's copywritten, to cross post their material. Who here can tell me what cross posting means?
Take material from some other site and post it on your site.
Right. Why is this a good thing in social media?
More
Because you
people.
have a connection and the rankings measure that.
Right. If they see that you're liking and cross-posting their content, chances are they're going to come and like and cross-post your
A lot of
content.
good reciprocation.
So that's the best part about social media. It's online networking. So if you decide, okay, I'm going to cross-post all the material for July on Monday, and then we decided we're going to put quotes up once a week because we're part of empowerment, right? Notice that on this post, you probably can't read it, but it says quote up. There's a reason for that. So we just, put it on the content calendar that we're doing the quote each Wednesday. And then after our meetings, we're going to put a recap. We meet the second and fourth Wednesday. So the recap's going to go up the next day, right? These are just examples. You guys can go through that list and come up with your own. The key then is to sit and go, okay, these are the things that I need to do. There's also, I lost some of my Post-its. There's also a monthly blog from the president, okay? But the key is for us, have a theme. Have a theme for your month. It's gonna make finding content so much easier. Why? Because Google, you just go, my theme for the month is sales. Google sales quotes. Sales quotes probably give you numbers, but you know what I'm saying. Inspiration quotes from sales. So let's say the president's blog is this day. Right, this day. I'm sorry, I'm going really fast, you guys. I don't want to keep you past the time because we are Toastmasters. So now we break down what it's going to take time-wise and effort for us to get this content up. The cool thing about cross-posting and quotes is you can do them all in one day, in one chunk at the beginning of the month. So you then are going to go, I'm going to gather all of my social quotes on Thursday. And then I am going to, whoops, that's this. I'm going to gather all of my cross posts. And then I'm going to edit all of my cross posts on Saturday. And then I'm going to put all of my cross post images together. And they're going to be in one file, or you can schedule them if you're in have a social media platform, to all go up on these days. But you're done once you've done all three of those steps. So if the president's writing a blog, you have to send them the theme, right? So you have to look at your calendar, since you're the one doing all of this, and you have to go, how long in advance do I need to have my blog in for my president? Okay, I'm gonna need to edit the president's blog, so that's gonna take me a day, right? I'm gonna need to put images on the president's blog, and I can do them the same day, so I'll just put that there. I don't know where this went.
It's on the second.
Thank you. So if I need to have, if I'm gonna do this on the 3rd, people are late, so we always wanna make sure we give them a little breathe room, so we tell them, I need your blog by the 1st, right? Just so I have it in 48 hours before I'm gonna start doing my thing. So on the content calendar, you're just gonna break it down. What do I need? What are the steps it's gonna take me to get it? How much time do each of those steps take? And then you put them up here. And that is an example of a content calendar. Are there questions?
Are you familiar with Hootsuite?
I am.
Have you used Hootsuite?
I have.
Okay.
Hootsuite is just, do you want to explain what Hootsuite is?
Well, I've not used it much, but
Okay.
what I see the appeal of it for Toastmasters is it's like a command center for all of your
Social
social
media.
media stuff. And you can schedule out into the future when you want it to post things to your social media accounts. And you can get a free Hootsuite account that'll let you handle up to 3 social media accounts. So you get the Hootsuite account, you connect it up to your Facebook, your Twitter,
Your Instagram.
or your Instagram or whatever, and then that's like your control center, and you can go in there and you can say, okay, post this on this date, post this on this date, and you can even have it set up.
And schedule them all out.
Yeah, and it'll let you post when people are most active on those social media platforms. So for example, Facebook, there's certain times of the day when people are more active on Facebook than others. So I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, that's
but I
great.
can see that, because from what I see is this is great for time management thing, but I think Hootsuite also, if I understand it correctly, it helps with that.
It's
too.
how you implement the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we didn't have enough time to go into tools, but that's a fantastic tool to use for planning out your social media. My thing is, just don't get overwhelmed with the content, but be consistent with it. And the way that you can be consistent is to plan it out and break it down into little tiny chunks, so that people are consistently getting your why in their preferred platform on social media. And that's content calendar.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does this compare to a storyboard?
It's similar. I mean, I'm not gonna draw.
Well,
No, it's exactly the same.
it is the same.
Yeah, you're plotting out what you want the world to know, right? Whether it's a story, if you're gonna storyboard a speech, you're gonna break your speech down into the tiny little, who here is familiar with the storyboard? Does this concept make sense in that comparison?
Yeah.
Similar.
It's very similar.
But it also gives you a map of what day you do what.
Exactly.
Different than a storyboard where you know that you need to include these elements. This
Right.
gives you a timeline to do it.
Absolutely. And if you are, this is just a way for you to physically be able to see the calendar. I'm very tactile. But you can do this in Google Calendar and share it with your entire club so that everybody knows what's going out, so that they know, okay, on Monday, I'm gonna cross-post all of the stuff from my club. And that's how you get them involved in the social media.
They know it's happening too. That's it.
And we have to wrap up because we're late.
So, are we out of time?
We are out of time,
Okay.
Well, finish your,
unfortunately.
whatever you got.
Okay, so just a couple of things I wanted to share with you is I'm the District 52 webmaster. So if you do have a flyer or you have some content you want to share with the district, you can send that to me, and my email's on the last page of this thing. And basically, I just need a flyer as a JPEG or a PDF. That's what you have. And Richard taught you how to make flyers, so that's good. Any promotional content you want, add as writing with it. You want to get that to me. Don't assume that I'm going to guess. You know I do a lot of times. I suggest you give it to me 2 weeks in advance of when you want your actual event. If you put it up a couple days before your event, you're probably not going to get much help from it. And then normally, I'll notify you when I put it up on Facebook and on the website so that you can share it, again, using it as advocacy, getting other people to repost it for you, getting your members to repost it. And I'm just going to tell you, we don't promote normal meetings. So we're looking for special events, special speakers, open houses, things to help build your membership. And then this is also going to be on the website, and I actually already have it up there, so I'm going to work on how you find it. The thing is, Glenn has assembled a team, and all of these people are available to help you. And some of these resources are pretty amazing. Of course, Jenna, who's like a Ferrari in social media. Now you can see the way she plans her calendar. You're immediately overloaded just looking at her calendar. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm a webmaster. If you have thoughts or things you want to do with the website or that you're having problems with, you want to let me know. Hector, who's here with us, is a Facebook and Instagram guru. And so he's available, and his email will be on the website too, so you can reach out to him for help. Serena, who couldn't be with us today, she's very good with LinkedIn. LinkedIn has 370 million users, and 39% of college graduates are on LinkedIn. So it's a good place for that. Steve James, who's with us today,
Yes,
is the
thank you, Steve.
programmer for Free Toast Host and all of the things that it does. It's his fault.
And cards, if anyone wants a card.
Yeah. And Free Toast Host
And
has
let me know if you want to do a workshop.
Yeah. Free Toast Host actually has entire mechanisms for you to post your questions, and they have 8 people from around the entire Free Toast Host network that will address your questions. Now also, if you put up on there, you say, please evaluate my site, they will evaluate your site in a comment. And I've done that with my site. So. Chris Calder is actually owns a company that does videos, educational videos, and he did a one for us for Meetup, and it's on the website, and it's a really good video. And when he first sent it to me, I thought, this guy is really good. And then I find out he owns a company that does it. Yeah. And then Shauna Swanberg is our newsletter. She's here with us too.
News to me.
District 52.
She's
She's also a wordsmith.
And then Sheila
Sheila.
Folly is our WordPress
Raffaele.
consultant. If you need help with WordPress, she's authority on that.
Wow.
And then this is another guide that I took a lot of content out for this presentation. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but just type in Let the World Know in Toastmasters on your browser, and this will come up. It's a PDF you can download, and a lot of what we talked about today is in this guide. So be aware of that. And I think wrapping it up, do more of what generates results, do less of what doesn't generate results. Honestly, a little planning in your PR program goes a long, long way. You know, don't neglect this idea of having some kind of plan, no matter what it is, however you generate it, whether you use a content calendar, Google, a spreadsheet, just something that lays out a guideline for you so that you you have a vision of how you're gonna be successful throughout the year, and then to be persistent, to keep it up, because that's what works. And then I have this here, a rising tide rises all ships. And what I'm saying is PR is not a zero-sum game. Do you know what the zero-sum game is?
Yeah.
Anybody not know what it is? So a zero-sum game is like, we have a loaf of bread, and Glenn and I are together, we're gonna share this loaf of bread, and if I cut the loaf of bread in half, we each get half. But if Glenn somehow manages to get another half of my half, I only have half. Right? A half, I have a quarter now.
Yeah.
That's a zero-sum game. A non-zero-sum game is, we go out and bake more bread. There is no loaf.
Which is the goal of District 52's PR this year.
Is
We
to make
really
bread?
want to
Well,
make it a zero-sum game where we all win.
I'll write a newsletter on that.
Yes.
so really good PR benefits everyone in every Toastmaster club.
Yes.
Let's work on this together.
Woo!
Just really quick, can everyone please fill out the evaluation sheets that Elisabeth and Jenna handed out? And also, just to reiterate too, having a team, excuse me, I'm sorry. Hold on, back. Having a PR team is something that we have never had. This is something that Lance Webster kind of had the brainchild of doing a lot of this last year, and we're building upon this. And you can see what happens here. As we said, we have Hector who's going to be doing Instagram and Facebook. We have Steve James who's handing out so people can know how to do free toast. He's doing some workshops. We got Shauna Swanberg who's going to be helping out. She's going to do once a month a blog newsletter. And Richard's going to be helping out when we have flyers, when I need him at most. But as she was saying, it's not something on a regular basis. Like, they're not going to post something that's going to be a regular club meeting. It has to be something very special. And that's what these two ladies gave to you, a lot of special today. So please give them a hand.
I've got a sheet going around, if someone wants a workshop on free toast.
Yeah, I think Richard's got it right down.
Okay, so please put your information on there and we'll set something up.
If you want a free toast, here's.
And the next, in case you guys want to know what's coming up next here, is also going to be how to start a Toastmasters club. And that's going to incorporate probably a lot of what you just heard. So thank you very much.
He's the Toastos. Yeah.
He's the free Toastmaster.
Yeah.
So just a little, just a little.